Hola from Barcelona. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I arrived in Barcelona yesterday and I was nervous about how I was actually going to watch today's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 11, Episode 8. I think it's Episode 8. And so, luckily, one of my friends was hosting a live viewing party via Facebook. So I was able to watch it, but actually came in really late. I was hanging out with my good friend Maurice, and when we got back to the hotel, the show was starting right at the Snatch Game. And so during the break, I kind of like was able to watch the first act. And during the first act, of course, we have Raja's lipstick message is on the wall. And I wasn't able to watch kind of like what happened after that, but there seemed to be a fight between Vanjie and Evie. Apparently, Evie had said something during On Tuck or on the main stage. I kind of like missed that part, but it was an explosive fight, and I never thought that I would kind of like see Vanjie come out of character like that because she is so well loved. She's a fan favorite that I assumed that she would just be a little more polished and aware of the fan base. The fan base will create a narrative regarding any type of negative situation that occurs for people of color. So I was really shocked by that, but then I had to stop that and then go back to the live when the commercial went off and the show came back on. And so we're at the Snatch Game at sea, which was supposed to be a nautical theme, but it wasn't really represented in what the characters portrayed. And so one of my favorites has to be Silky. Silky really played with her strengths and she sold it as T.S. Madison. T.S. Madison is someone who is such a huge social media presence. For a while, she was everywhere. She was even on that show on MTV. What is it called? It's like, crap, I can't think of the name of the show, but it's this show on MTV where they kind of like go through social media and they look at viral videos, and then they kind of like invite the star of the video to come onto the show and then break down what was happening during the video, which is a really interesting show, but I just can't think of the name right now. And so she sold it. She was my top out of all of the other contestants. And I really love kind of like the back and forth that she had with Rue. I love the bit that she did with Plastique. I guess Plastique played Mimi, which is, I'm assuming, what Gia Gunn did for her Snatch Game character, the manicurist for Cardi B. I could be wrong, but they said that this person was on Love and Hip Hop and Cardi B was on Love and Hip Hop, so I assume it's that person. Which I'm surprised that she would go with that character. I still don't even know who that character is. I have to research her to figure her out. It's very confusing, but it was a stretch because Gia just did it on All Stars. And so I'm surprised that she would want to follow that up. But Plastique was okay. Evie as Whoopi Goldberg, that was a disaster. It's kind of like so easy to go to kind of like Molly You and Danger Girl, so I'm sure Evie didn't want to be cheap and easy. And so I think she was just kind of going for kind of like casual weed smoking Whoopi, which was so bad. When she made the devil's lettuce comment, everyone just turned and looked at her like, oh my gosh, like, what are you talking about? I actually didn't even get the reference at first. And so you also had Nina West. She did 2 characters. And so the second character is one of RuPaul's favorite people, which I can't remember her name. But I like Nina. Nina, she stayed in character, so that was good. Sugar surprised me as Charo. Charo has been on RuPaul's Drag Race probably like 4 or 5 times. She's such a beloved character, and she sold it. It was believable. Like, the voice was there, the mannerisms were there. She was Charo. Even the wig looked good, and the movements were great. So, big applause for Sugar. Angeria also surprised me because she hasn't, during the last episode, she kind of faded into the background and had to lip sync with Raja. And so she played Tiffany Haddish and was actually funnier than Tiffany Haddish. I loved when she said she took Will and Jete on a cruise using a Rupaul. And it was hilarious because Tiffany is a spokesperson for Groupon and has been in probably 4 or 5 of their commercials. And 3 of my good friends saw Tiffany Haddish when she came to LA on her tour. And I know when the tour kicked off, I believe in Florida, and basically everyone got on social media and said that she was awful, that she was not ready for the She Ready tour. And once she got to California, she still wasn't ready. And so that was hilarious. The part about the grapefruit that Lady Bunny keeps was hilarious. I even think her wig came off at one point, but that's when you want your wig to come off. Rue loved it, and it was hilarious. Brooklyn as Celine Dion was trash. I don't know what the backwards suit bit is about. I guess I have to research that. It wasn't funny at all. It was awful. Vanjie as Bad Baby. Vanjie's just funny. So Vanjie, call her Viola Davis because she gets away with murder. Vanjie sold her personality as Vanjie, not as Bad Baby. I think that's everyone. I don't know if I'm missing anyone. So Silky top for Snatch Game. She was incredible. Then we go into the workroom, and Evie apologizes to Silky because in the last episode she called her talentless. And I wish that Silky would have been the bigger person and would have said, thank you, let's move on. We're in a sisterhood now. We're going to fight. We're going to cuss each other out. But at the end of the day, I love you because we're on this road together. We have struggled as drag artists. And after this, we're going to travel on the road together and we're going to see a lot of each other. So let's just end this. No, she didn't do that. I think Silky sometimes gets in her own way. And it's really unfortunate to watch that part. And so there's a good moment where Vanjie actually apologizes to Evie for the way that she reacted to the situation that happened. I think it was in Untucked or on the main stage, I'm not sure. But that was such a good moment to see Vanjie apologize to Evie, and I was hoping that there would be a moment where Vanjie would ask Silky to also forgive Evie, but that moment did not happen. And so we move to the runway, and I did not know this, but apparently the outfit that RuPaul wore during the runway is from the archives, from Ru's archives, and Ru actually wore that in 1994 on the RuPaul show on VH1, and it's amazing that RuPaul can still fit that. Apparently, all of the short dresses that Ru has been wearing, those are from the archives. And so Ru is actually still the same size from the early 90s. That is incredible. I don't know anyone who's the same size that they were 20 years ago. So that's incredible. Ru apparently works out constantly to stay the same size. So the theme for the runway is sequins on the runway. And I couldn't really see all of the outfits because it was on a live stream and people were commenting. But from what I could see, I have my notes. Angeria was okay. She wore kind of like this zebra print that looked decent from what I saw. Vanjie was in a bodysuit and a cape, and so I knew that Michelle was going to read her for filth. Brooklyn, I couldn't really see what she was wearing. I think she had on like a curly style wig and then some type of like cape or caftan, and then she spins and whips off or tears off the cape and darker curly wig to do a reveal into a long blonde wig and kind of like spandex type bodysuit underneath. And then she did kind of like this really cool dip onto the floor. So it was a good reveal. And then we had Sugar. I couldn't see what Sugar was wearing, but I was really disappointed because apparently Ru said that it was one of her favorite looks of all times on the runway. I knew it was eggplant, but I really couldn't see it. But from what I saw, it looked beautiful. Sorry about my notes, but I'm in Barcelona and I really can't remember the episode. Evie wore some type of Ziggy Stardust jumpsuit with her buttocks showing. The colors looked really cool. It looked very kind of like avant-garde, and so I really appreciated that. I really love Evie and just what she brings to the competition. I knew that Silky was going to kill this. This is kind of like what Silky does in the pageant world. And so just from what I could see, she looked beautiful. The makeup is on point. Her makeup just looks so good, so right all the time. I really love her looks. Plastique, it looked like she had like a really cool pantsuit. It looked like she borrowed Brooklyn's Zodiac themed headpiece from one of the earlier episodes when I think it was episode two when they had the Zodiac look. From what I could see from the Facebook Live, it looked very similar to that. So we learned that Angeria and Plastique are safe, and the tops and bottoms of the week are Vanjie, Sugar, Nina, Silky, Evie, and Brooklyn. So of course, Silky wins Snatch Game, and unfortunately, Brooklyn and Evie are in the bottom. And they have to perform to Sorry Not Sorry by Demi Lovato, and I hate the word shook, but I was shook. I was shooketh. Shooketh. Shooketh? I was shook. They both brought, I was afraid for Evie because Brooklyn is a dancer and really turns it on the stage. But Evie really emoted the song, and I love when she does that kind of like back flip onto her head. I don't even know what that is called, but it looks brilliant every time she does it. I hope that she didn't injure herself because she put everything into that lip sync performance. And I'm glad that she did because it was a double Shantae. And then Rue actually said that the girls in the back of the stage should be aware because there are new lip sync assassins. And so I want to know your thoughts. What did you think of that double Shantae? Do you think Vanjie should have been in the bottom? It would have been interesting if Vanjie had to lip sync against Brooklyn. That would have been so, as Gia Gunn says, gaggy. I forgot to mention, it was Silky is so shady. So Silky said earlier in the episode that the girl that called me talentless is in the bottom. That was one of the top quotes of the week. That was hilarious. So this is the end of the review. I hope you guys loved the episode and I hope you enjoyed this review. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this episode. Have a great day. Besos from Barcelona.